So good morning to everyone, and we will be starting with the discussions on the Pottali Kalpanas. We will be starting to have the discussions on the Pottali Kalpanas today. We will try to see what the best form of clinical art of practicing with the Pottali Kalpanas can be understood by going with the discussions of the art of clinical practice by Pottali Kalpanas, a clinical perspective. Salutation to the God. And it is very much important for us to know about the Pottali Kalpanas, which is very unique form of the rasa preparations. There are many such preparations which are being lived in the textbooks of Rasa Shastra right from the centuries. One of the faded, I still use the term, the faded form of the Rasa Kalpana is the Pottali Kalpana, which was not very much into practice in mid, possibly because of the method or the style of preparation, the way of its clinical utility, the options for the emergency managements in the Ayurveda practice, and might be some other reasons. Lack of skills of preparing these unique preparations, possibly either of the reasons. This particular module of therapeutic protocol has been eventually faded. Of course, it is into practice in a tribal level. It is into practice in certain sects of people, certain Rasavaidyas are using it. The most recent thing which happened possibly in the year 2002, when I was into my field surveys, I came across the method of preparations of Pottali Kalpanas. I have learned this technique of preparation primarily from three people in very slight modifications. One thing is from my mentor, my teacher, my guru, Professor Siddhinandan Mishra ji, who has taught me the method of Pottali preparations. The second thing is my teacher, again, my colleague, my senior, an eminent personality in the field of Rasa Shastra and Vaisheshika Kalpana, Dr. Satyanarayan Bhatt from Munial College, principal. And the third thing which I have learned about the renovation of the Pottali Kalpanas from the tribes, from the forest of Sri Salem, wherein lots of methods of the Pottali Kalpanas, their method of preparations, their alterations, the method of clinical usage, how the people are using them even at a tribal sect, how the people are using them possibly in the way which is not routinely explained in the regular textbooks which we take it as a reference books in BMS or MD. So many of these techniques were being possibly innovated or being practiced by a certain sect of people, might be folklore practitioners or the tribes of the Nallamalla forest in Sri Salem. So after learning it from them, much of these things I have taken up into my clinical practice at least from past 20 years. And I'm using them exclusively in most of my patients. I'm using it from a very small clinical variation like that of simple rhinitis to that of the malignancy patients. To various ranges I'm using. I do use Pottali Kalpanas even in the pediatric practice. I do use it even in geriatric practice. I do use it in pregnancy. I do use it in mentally ill patients. I do use it in chronic disorders and also in acute management. So I do use these Pottali Kalpanas at various forums or various levels of clinical practice. So what makes it so potent? What is the reason why the Pottali Kalpanas are so potent? Because I never find a major failure in treating the patients with that of the Pottali Kalpanas. Most of the times it's a good success rate. The only disadvantage I do have is all the Pottali Kalpanas do have a small concentration of gold in it, which makes it moderately expensive. But Therapeutically, it is a real effective medicine which is going to mesmerize the clinical benefits in the patient, provided you use it in a proper way. You use it in a rightful way, then it is going to benefit you in a very significant manner. And these Pottalikalpanas need to be re-evaluated in case of the method of the classical preparations. How and why these methods are being explained in the textbook, the possible logical answers, and later on in the eventual presentation I try to go with the Pottalikalpanas, and also I'll try to go later on to speak about. It is very much important to say like the definition as vistaritasya vastuno alpa api bhavanam pottam pottalam iti grunhati iti pottali. So it's a moderate definition which possibly given by few of the recent authors, possibly as pottalis can be defined as a collect scattered material into a compact and comprehensive size. Otherwise, the kalpana or the processing which gives compactness to the scattered material. So this is one such reference what is being possibly evaluated for the Pottalikalpanas. So wherein he speaks about primarily about the utility of the Pottalikalpanas in said to be very convenient because of its compactness, very small concentration of the medicine, easily to carry, and wherein it can be dispensed in a very convenient way. The patient can scrape it and take it at any time, at any moment he wants with, and try to have a clinical benefit. So with this particular thing, I would like to add up to say the scattered materials in the form of parada, gandhaka, swarna, tamra, what are the ingredients of the Pottalikalpanas are being compactness. There is a compactness which has been created among the molecules, which is giving a total complete molecular structure to that product, and which is helpful for the administration in a clinic for having the total benefit of a complex molecule in a most simpler way. So this is the definition which I could understand in my clinical practice with the Pottalikalpanas. So on that grounds, I try to give maximum benefit to most of my patients with that of the Pottalikalpanas. With this particular way, whenever we try to go with a small intervention about the history, of course, it's been mentioned since centuries, possibly the textbooks of 8th, 9th century and all have been explained about the Pottalis, but the most detailed elaboration is being given among the various types of the Pottalikalpanas very clearly in the form of Rasa-yoga-sagara. Second, whereas whenever we see through the other things, like the total number of Pottalis which are being described in Rasashastra is approximately around 17 number, but on analysis some of them are repeated from the previous one. Different varieties of the Pottalikalpanas are found in the text with their uniqueness at about 40. There is small alteration. Say for example, Hiranyagarbha Pottali, there are so many types, 30, 40, 50 types. So there are many types of Tamragarbha Pottali, there are many types of Lohagarbha Pottali. So in that way you have lots of variations in the Pottalikalpanas. So these Pottalikalpanas can be compiled. We have a sort of a final justification to see what is the number of Pottalis. We get approximately up to 40. With the small alterations, we get it up to 70 Pottalikalpanas from the various textbooks as a compilation. So once we have this sect of medicines with us, then the benefit is extraordinary. So what is it? The necessity of the Pottalikalpana. Necessity is the mother of inventions. All the new things in every field of science are catastrophe of the previous problems. Similarly, certain points may be taken into consideration for the origin and the development of the Pottalikalpanas. They can be categorized, say for example, as the convenience, enhancement of the properties and other aspects. But still I say, when there is no requirement of a particular format, say for example as a sort of a sure shorter treatment, as a set of medicines which can act in the patients who are critically ill, possibly in the ICU, possibly the patient who are having severe vitiation of the doshas, possibly the patients who are having the dosha sammorshan at a very higher extent or deep rooted, where we have the conditions like the bahudosha avastha, where we have multiple systemic involvement, end organ failure, any such conditions which makes the person to become more and more critically ill. To enhance the properties of the medicine which is already available. Say for example, I do have Tamragarbha Pottali with me. I want to enhance its property, the Tamra Basma with me. I would like to enhance the property of Tamra Basma. I'll create something called as Tamragarbha Pottali and try to give it to the patient, which is having more and more folds of benefits in the clinical perspective. So on this grounds, we have something like convenience, enhancement of the properties. It's easy to carry, take the things convenient, and enhancement of the properties which makes it. And once we speaks about the convenience, in the past decade there was acute problem of transportation. Physicians were not available everywhere due to their small numbers. So physicians attending the patients have to carry out all the medicines and accessory instruments with them. Sometimes these medicines on the way were destroyed due to the breakage of the containers and mixed with each other. As quoted in Rasayana Sara, sloka number 113 and 114. So this is the reason why the convenience has came into existence, especially with that of the Pottali Kalpanas. So to prevent such inconvenience, Pottali Kalpanas was introduced, wherein the physicians had to keep the Pottali handy with them and is able to administer it when and wherever required immediately. Small quantity of the tablet can serve for any number of people. You need to scrape it with a suitable anupanam or a streak plate, usually what we call it as kasha, or a streak plate which is usually used for scraping the sandalwood. So that streak plate is being taken and pottalis are being scraped with anupana and it is being given to the patient. Then it gives benefit. So this is very easy and convenient way of clinical practice, because very small dosage of medicine, the patient need not gulp high dosage of medicines. Very small concentrations is more than sufficient. And enhancement of the property. Once you speak about the enhancement of the property, we should always think about the role of Gandhaka, which is almost an essential component for the pharmaceutical processing of the Pottali Kalpana. You have the whole of the Pottali Kalpana wherein the medicine which is being formulated. We will go in detail about the method of preparation, but still the medicine, once it is being prepared in the form of a kalkakara and you dry it in the form of a golakara, it is being tied in a silk cloth and it is being suspended into a molten sulfur for a set period of time till you attain the Pakalakshana. Once you attain the Pakalakshana, the Pottali is being taken out, allowed to dry, allowed to come to the room temperature because it's still hot. And once it is to the room temperature, take it and that particular Pottali is being scraped with a suitable anupanam or a kasha or a streak plate, and it is asked to the patient to lick it, to take it in a very small dosage forms. And the same textbooks of Rasa Shastra have given lots and lots of benefits for the Gandhaka Jarana. More and more of Gandhaka Jarana, more is the therapeutic property, more is a deeper penetration of the medicine. So with this concept of the Gandhaka Jarana, it is always beneficial to understand the Gandhaka or the sulfur, which is the chief role for the Pottali Kalpanas to enhance the properties. We have already come across the Gandhaka and its therapeutic efficacy from the textbook of Rasa Shastra, especially from the textbook of Rasaratna Samuchaya in my previous presentations. So this particular Gandhaka, it is going to enhance the therapeutic efficacy, it enhances the Rasayana Guna, it acts as a concept of a Jarana Samskara, and this Jarana is helping for the deeper penetration and potensification of the drug proper, which makes it more enhancement in this. So enhancement of the properties as per the Rasa textbooks primarily can be classified as which can be described on the substance to reduce the toxic effect in the mercury, because Gandhaka is said to be an antidote for the mercury. So you have any of the mercury or other metallic components within the Pottali Kalpana, by melting it or boiling it in the sulfur bath, it's going to detoxify it, reduce the toxicity of the mercury. I don't say the mercury which is being added here is toxic, but still due to some reasons the Shodhana is not being properly achieved, for example, or any such conditions wherein the quantity of the mercury is being titrated to a higher or a lower extent, you need to see that it is acting in a controlled way in individual. So on that grounds, to enhance these properties and reduce the toxic symptoms of the metals and other metals which has been added in the Pottalikalpanas, sulfur is a chief component which makes it so potencified and reduce the toxins. So on this particular ground, most of the mercurial preparations like the Kupipakva, Parpati, etc., most of the Kalvera Sainas as well, wherever you added metals, minerals or something like mercury, most of the places we do add sulfur. This is the reason why this sulfur is so important. Gandhaka is an essential component because it gives a sort of enhancement in the properties of a therapeutic processing, and also the therapeutic as well as pharmaceutical processing. So it was through the mercury, if treated with the liquid sulfur, may be therapeutically efficacious. This hypothesis might have been given to the idea of the formulating the Pottalikalpanas. Thirdly, the physician were in need of an emergency medicine which the Pottali fulfilled to extent being used in emergencies. So this is one such a drug which can be used in emergencies, which can make the conditions to turn more and more beneficial therapeutically. So on that grounds, these Pottalikalpanas are being very much. In a nutshell, the Pottalikalpanas was invented with a vision for the convenience in transportation, administration, dose fixation, preservation of the properties for a longer time. Might be the shelf life has been increased, and also in case of emergency medicine, use it in case of emergency medicine. But I do use it, as I claimed already, in my cases, in my clinical practice, at least from past 18 to 20 years, with a milder case as a simple rhinitis, cough, fever, etc., to the grave conditions like that of malignancies and all. I do use lots of Pottalikalpanas in. So what we do initially is we are taking some amount of Parada in the form of Parada or Rasasindura or Parada Basma. It is being explained in the textbook, and the textbook has permitted to use either forms of the Parada Basma, including the Rasasindura, and it is being kept along with the sulfur which has been claimed in the textbook, and it is being triturated. Other drugs are being added, and later on Bhavana is being done with aloe vera, which most of the textbooks have claimed. Of course, we have various Bhavanas. So the said Bhavana is being done, and later on it is being tied in a silk cloth. And once it is being tied in a silk cloth, where you have the sulfur surrounding it and the Pottali which is being placed in the center, and it is being wrapped totally with Shodhita Gandhaka, and over that is a silk cloth, and it is being tied in the form of a Pottali Akara, and this Pottali placed over the Dola Yantra, like a Yantra, like wherein you keep it amid of the sand bath, so to have the uniform temperature. Then the sulfur is being melted state, and once the sulfur is being melted to that of the liquid state, the Pottali is being immersed into the molten sulfur, and it is allowed to have its reaction for the set period of like this. It is something like you have inserted it into the sulfur bath and allow it to have its reaction. And later on, once you find the Pakalakshana, where he explains about the Shyama Varnam, the brim becomes Shyama Varna, and also you can take a small metallic spoon or something and make a gentle resonance over this Pottali. You find a sort of a resonant sound, something like you are hitting with two metals. So it becomes resonant once you hit the Pottali with a metallic component like a spoon. Later on, the Pottali is and it is being collected. Might be it's Vishagarbha Pottali, it is Hemagarbha Pottali, either. Then later on, the whole thing is based on the action of the Rasa Pujana. You need to do the prayers for the Pottalikalpana. So some of the important features for the Pottalikalpana. In course of the preparation of the Pottali, following points are being taken into consideration, especially for those prepared in the molten sulfur state. So the components of the Pottali preparations are the ingredients, the binding agent or the Swarasas, Bhavana, etc., the shape of the Pottali, drying of the potali, container, cloth, quantity of the sulfur for the paka, the nature of heat or the agni pramana which is being given, paka kala, paka lakshana, and the paschat karma. So these are the various steps of the potali preparations as such. On this we would like to go to the first one, the ingredients. Most of the potalis, the common ingredient is the gold and the mercury. Other than that, you do have other materials like you have sulfur, you have some other dhatu basma or any of the components. It depends on the individual. Swarna, Varak is being explained by Rasamanjari, Rasyoga Sagara and Rasavathara, wherein he speaks about the Swarna Varak is to be used, whereas the other textbooks have explained the utility of the Swarna Basma. So I do use the Swarna Basma in my practice. I'm not using much of the Varak. I used to use it once upon a time, but now have shifted to the Swarna Basma. And the Swarna Basma, which is Ashtasamskarita Parada Marita Swarna Basma, is being used for the preparation of the potalis, either for the mixing up of the Swarna in the form of a kajali with the of other components, or also for the preparation of the Swarna Basma Nirmana. For the Parada Marana, I use Ashtasamskarita Parada. The Parada, as said, it is mandate. We do use Ashtasamskarita Parada. Textbook also ask you to, you can use like Parada Basma or Rasasindur or any of the other components of the mercury. But I am using Ashtasamskarita Parada. If I want to use Rasasindur also in the form of Parada Basma, in the name of Parada Basma, I do use Ashtasamskarita Parada Nirmita Rasasindura, and that particular Rasasindura is being used as an ingredient in the Potali Kalpana. And later on, the second one is about the binding agent, the Swarasas, which is being taken for the Bhavana. You are being flexible to use either of the Swarasa Kalpanas or either of the components for the preparation, but most of the times it is a Kumari Rasa which is being used, which is highly viscous, it is sticky, makes a component to combine in a form of a mold, whatever you have given to the particular drug form. And few of the textbooks have also indicated about the use of gold, Babula Niryasa, Tulasi Swarasa, Chitraka. Siddha cult of people advocate the bhavana with that of the egg albumin as a bhavana dravya. But anyway, either of the components can be taken for the bhavana. And among the either of the components, I do prefer lots with the Kumari, just because of the reason it's a very good metallic chelator. Second thing is Kumari is very much beneficial for the holding of the drugs in a compact way. Added to that, it itself is a very good metabolic stimulator. It acts on the liver in the body, which stimulates the Agni in the body, and also it is Anulomana. It is also helpful for the detoxification in a body. So Samskaram Gunantaradhanam. Whatever the drugs, herbal components you are mixing up with the prime drug, so will be the therapeutic efficacy. I do give lots of bhavanas with various drugs as well, along with the Kumari. For the malignant patients, I do use the Potali Kalpanas with the Kanchanara Bhavita. I do use it with that of Dhatura Bhavita, Krishna Dhatura Swarasa Bhavita. I do use sometimes with Dashamula, I do use Trifala, I do use Kumari, I do use Mundi, I do use Krishna Mandoka Parni. So either of the things depending on the availability. Sometimes I'm using some Ashtavarga, the tubers extracted with the juice, and that bhavana is being given where it acts as extensive rasayana property to the individual. So samskaram gunantaradhanam. Either of these components can be used, either of these components, but the textbook gives lots of references on the Kumari Rasa. I do change lots of bhavana dravyas in my clinical practice considering the patient's condition and the clinical presentation. And based on that, I do go for the bhavana substances as the falashruti of the individual components which is being praised from the textbooks of the Dravya. So on that grounds, the bhavana dravya. Then later on, the shape of the potali. The textbook speaks about the Shikharakara as claimed by Rasayanasara, Pugakara as it has been explained by the various textbooks. It has been also told as Lingakara, Pugakara, Shikharakara, Shankakara. Many types is being explained. Some people have explained about the karsha, it should be at least of 12 grams. So this is about the shapes of the potalis, whatever is being given. I do formulate all types of potalis. I do formulate potalis about half a gram to 1 gram. I do have certain potalis in a single batch. I prepare up to 1 kg. Like I make a elongated stick or elongated lingakara of drugs like Pravalagarbha with 1 kg single slot of potali, and which is very much beneficial, especially there are many people who take the Potalicalpanas as Rasayanartha. Say for example, people suffering from skin disorders, they are using this Potalicalpanas for years and years together, like in conditions of pemphigus vulgaris or in conditions like psoriasis, in certain conditions like eczema. They are in a condition with which is post-infective, which is post-treatment protocol, the paschat karma. They're taking potalis in a very small concentration for a pretty long time. They're taking them as to see something like it can safeguard them. It can be very much benefited. So on that grounds, various bhavanas are being added, various shapes are being molded, various sizes are being formulated, and it is as per the convenience and for the dispensing of the Potalicalpanas. I do use at least 15 to 20 types of potalis in my routine clinical practice, and I use them possibly in kgs per year. I do use them in huge quantities every year. I do prepare at least some 20 to 30 kgs in 1 year. So much of Potalicalpanas I am using into my. The containers, whichever is to be taken, the earthen pot which has been smeared with ghee as claimed by the Yoga Ratnakara or Rasachintamani. Also Ayapatra, the iron pot or enamel coated container as claimed by Rajamarthanda or Rasyoga Sagara, or either of the textbooks. I'll say you need a good vessel, but I am using most of the times with that of the earthen pot, which is very convenient for me, and I'm trying to utilize it in my practice about earthen pots for the pottery nirman. The cloth, the silk cloth, either the textbook is claiming about 1 to 4 layers. So these are the various textbooks where they have explained about the silk cloth, which should be taken around 1 to 4 layers in it. So either of the 1 to 4 layers are being taken, and it has been wrapped and it has been allowed to keep it as it is, and to go for the further processing. So the silk cloth actually helps a lot. The threading is very near. It is heat resistant. The silk cloth is heat resistant. It doesn't get that easily torn off, even though it is being placed inside the molten sulfur. And added to that, silk cloth in India, it's a pioneer. The manufacturing of silk cloth, India is a very pioneer, right from the period where the Potalicalpanas have come into existence, possibly in the time slot from 7th or 8th century to that of 17th and 18th century, where we had the golden era of Rasa Shastra, wherein the silk was into highest production in India, and also silk was said to be a royal cloth, wherein the kings and queens of India used to wear them as a sort of a honor because of its elegance, and much of these silk cloths were used for the royal people. And added to that, whenever the silk cloth was being embroidery in the silk cloth, there is a small concentrations of gold which was being added into the silk for making the more designs into it, and later on the worn out cloths or the cloths which are being not into utility, or the silk cloths which is having such golden embroidery, could be taken in the form of a small pieces for the pottery nirmana, wherein it can be tied. One thing is near threading, what you have there. So this near threading, which is going to definitely benefit you, it doesn't allow the unnecessary ashuddha sulfur which is outside the dola yantra, or sorry, outside the pottery. It's not going to get mixed up with it. Second thing is this particular threading, which is going to give a sort of a royalty, which is used as a rasayanartha. The gold component in the silk cloth also is supportive, samskaram gunantaradhanam. And added to that, today every person is a king. Every life is very precious. irrespective of the person's profession. Every person's life is equally important. So on that grounds, every person is a king and he needs to be treated like a king. And for that grounds, silk cloth is taken for the study, and we are being totally into utilizing of this silk cloth. The quantity of the sulfur, few of the textbooks has said like the equal quantity as that of the potali can be taken as claimed by Yoga Ratnakara. Double the quantity of the potali, or the textbooks are also speaking about the 6 times the quantity of the potali. But I say what I am using, I don't weigh the amount of sulfur, the ashuddha sulfur which is to be added in the jar. I'm using something like tilda dola yantra, like where the potali gets totally suspended and conveniently it is being immersed into the gandhaka, and also the gandhaka which is inside the cloth, which is totally wrapping the mold of the potali. So this quantity of sulfur, I'm using it in my Agni Pramana. This is very much important, the nature of the heat. All authors have opined for the indirect means of temperature and Mandagni. I do go for the Kramagni in my preparations. In the last duration, during the formulation or the pharmaceutical processing, I do give some amount of high temperature just to cross-evaluate myself. But I never cross the molten sulfur temperature not more than 400 degrees. Just because of the reason I don't want any of the bubbles to start in the sulfur. It is to be set to stand stagnated as it is, so that it can have a good clinical action in the form of a total reaction within the components in the Potali Kalpana, not to distort the Agni Pramana. The Paka Kala, various opinions are being given as Yamarda, Yamika, Ghatika, Dvayam, Dviyamam, means the duration of the Paka ranges from 1 to 8 hours. But Yoga Ratnakara mentions till you attain the Vyoma Varna in the sulfur. So till that time you are supposed to give the temperature to it. So till you attain the Paka Lakshana, the temperature can be followed. Till you attain a sort of a Vyoma Varna, the brim of the Ashuddha sulfur, Gandhaka, which has been kept in the mud pot, should turn to Vyoma Varna. It turns darker. Then it is to be removed. And the second test what I do is the resonant test by hitting it with a small spoon, a steel spoon or something like, which gives a sort of a resonance. So with this I conclude the practicals, considering like the Paka is being very accurate. The Paka Lakshana, as per the color explained, is it turns as Vyoma Varna, which is a darker color, bluish color. Neela Shyama Varna is another term which is being used. It becomes a dark blue or something like darker color. Metallic sound, as I said, with the potali, and also burning of the cloth. Some of the textbooks have claimed the potali will break down into the sulfur vessel. It falls down into the vessel, then immediately you need to lift it up with a Darvika yantra and try to separate the potalis from the sulfur. If you just leave it off as it is there for longer time, there is a sulfur within the potali also, and it starts to disintegrate because of the high temperature at the base of the vessel, and you will not get any of the potalis. Everything gets disintegrated into the sulfur, which is in the form of the whole container, and you will not attain any potalis. So you should be checking it now and then and try to cross-analyze yourself the Paka Lakshana, and this is the basic trick in the whole of the preparation, and try to the Paschat Karma, remove the potali from the sulfur bath and polish it with a knife after it has been turned to the room temperature. Some people are taking sandpaper and rubbing it, some people are scraping it with a knife, but I just do it with a moderate extent. I don't want to give shape and consistency to it. I want the therapeutic property in it. So I don't add any of those things, any of those components in either the way. I don't add any of the substances for a polishing material. I try to remove some unwanted substances if at all it is being adhered on the surface, or else I just rub it with my hand or gently or across with a spoon, and I keep it aside for drying. Later on, few of the alterations which I have done, few of the alterations for the preparation of the Potali Kalpanas, which has usually been followed in the routine clinical practice, is based on the clinical impact of these Potali Kalpanas. Few alterations can be done on the ground of the therapeutic effect. Example like adding Kasisa and other drugs. Kasisa is not among the monogram of the Potali Kalpanas many times, but still whenever I need to feel like to add Kasisa with other drugs, with the water molecule which is present within the Kasisa, shall increase the oxidative process in the human body by mixing Kasisa, etc. So into the Potali forms. So wherever I find something like I would like to increase the oxidation process in an individual, where I would like to stimulate certain organic functions in the body, I do add small concentrations of Kasisa Bhasma into the Kalpana, even though it is not there in the monogram as per the textbook. These are few of the alterations which I have done based on my experiences in my clinical practice. And using for the increase of the Rasayana property and for most of the potencies of the Potali Kalpanas, the Potali Dravya should be processed either with the Makshika Sattva or Abraka Sattva, then formulate the Potali. So by processing it, it happens like the Potali will start having a sort of a excess qualities, a sort of a Ati Rasayana. It becomes very, very potent. So either you can use the Swarnamakshika Sattva or you can use the Abraka Sattva, process it or use it as an ingredient into the Potali Kalpanas and try to formulate the Potalis, which will definitely have lots of benefits. To a very smaller concentrations, approximately I am using around 6 to 8 grams per 48 grams of the Potali Kalpana and try to use them into my clinical protocol. And for the increase in the potency of the drug, the mercury used in the Potali Kalpana should be Ashtasamskarita or Shadguna Jarita. You have a concept called as polymerization, because sulfur is having valency 8, which can interact a sort of a circle like around the molecules which are being present. And by this uniqueness, you have a whole of the components which gets compacted and it becomes a complex chain which gets inbuilt into the processing of the Potali. Then later on, for the increasing the Tivrata and the Bubukshata of the Potali, one have to process the mercury which is to be used with that of Haratala or Manashila like substances by which the potency of the mercury is high. Such mercury used in the Potali Nirmana shall be more quick in action. So these Potalis, whenever you make with the Bubukshita Parada, by processing with the Haratala and Manashila, gives a sort of a excessive Bubukshata in the mercury, and it gives a more clinical efficacy, which makes it more Tivra and also makes it to control the disorders in an individual very quickly. So Samskaram Gunantaradhanam again here. So the mercury which has been used here or been priorly processed with Haratala and Manashila, and that particular mercury is to be taken for the Nirmana of the Potali Kalpana, and that can be utilized for the clinical. Then later on, any of the formulations can be made into Potali Kalpanas. I am using Potalis in my clinic in the form of Kumara Kalyana Rasa in the form of Potali. I am using Ananda Bhairava Rasa in the form of Potali. Chandrakhala Rasa in the form of Potali. Rajapravarthini Vati as in the form of a Potali. Sutta Shekhara Rasa in the form of Potali. Vasanta Kusumakara Rasa in the form of Potali, etc. Either of the formulations can be converted in the form of Potalis and they can be utilized. I am using most of these combinations. I do use extensively. I do use Sutta Shekhara and Vasanta Kusumakara, Kumara Kalyana, and I am also using Jaimangala Potali, Jaimangal dress in the form of Potali, which is very, very potent, which is very quick in action, and which makes the whole of the scenario turn to be very convenient and desired in its clinical efficacy. And there is no harm. I'm not adding anything else. I'm slightly changing the proportions. The Kalve Rasayanas are being converted into the Potali Rasayanas, and they are clinically administered to the patient in the same indications with a quicker benefit or a better benefit with a quick clinical response. So these are few of the alterations which I'm trying to do with that of the Potali Kalpanas based on my experience in routine clinic. Then later on, Rasa Pujana is mandatory. So you can see with the experiment of the Masaru Imati on the water crystals, you can watch it on our YouTube. It's really amazing. But prior to the experiment which was being conducted by this person, Masaru Imati, this Rasa Pujana is being explained in the Rasa textbooks right from the beginning. Possibly from the textbooks of 8th century, and even prior to that, you have the Rasa Pujana. The central Lingakara or the Pugakara, the Potali Nirmana is being placed, and over that the flowers are arranged and puja is being done to the Rasa Bhairava, that is to the Lord Shiva. And later on these medicines are being utilized into the clinical perspective in the form of a medicine to the patient. As you can see the Hemagarbha Potali. So here in this particular Potali I am using it in chronic cases in the form of disorders like malignancies, autoimmune disorders, or the disorders which are from the chronic illnesses, wherein it acts extensively wonderful. So they are worth praying, they are worth because they are going to achieve a health benefit to your patient. So on that grounds we are doing the Rasa Pujana for every drug which is being formulated and then clinically administer it to the Bhavana and Anupana can be selected as per the requirement of the therapeutic desire. As I already discussed, whatever you would like to do, you can go for the Bhavana. Anupana can be given Roga Anusara or Sharira Anusara, and based on that you can go for its clinical indications. Scrape the potali, never hammer it. So theory of bioinformatics to be achieved, you cannot really go for any of the formulations wherein you are unable to hammer it. You need to scrape the potali and then give it to the patient. You are not supposed to hammer it. Don't pound it. Possibly the cells or the ingredients gets distorted. So by scraping it, the therapeutic efficacy is really wonderful. So you need to scrape it just like sandalwood is being scraped over the streak plate with small amount of liquid. So on that grounds it is to be scraped. And of course the tests like the bioinformatics can be carried out. You can see with any of the Potali Kalpana with that of the wherein the textbook speaks about Sa Rasa Kramate Dehe Siddhe Sambhavantihi Rasayane Tu Yaha Prokta Mulika Deha Siddhidaha. It's a reference from Ananda Kanda Amruti Karana Ullasa, 4th chapter, wherein he speaks about the combination of a mercury and a herb, or a metal and a herb, will make you to achieve the Deha Siddhi. And the achievement of this Deha Siddhi is because of the Kramana in the Deha. The medicine whichever is given into the body gets assimilated, gets Kramana throughout the body, it spreads throughout the body, and then it shows the therapeutic efficacy. He speaks about the whole pharmacodynamic and pharmacokinetic in a single shloka. He is explaining the assimilation system, possibly if not to a cellular or any of the levels, but he explained the term. He knew the concept of Kramana, that it spreads all over the body and shows its therapeutic efficacy. So the concept of bioinformatics is almost the similar way. We can try to see at various levels of the body. It's a molecular study which can be done at over a computer, wherein you go for the analysis of the end product, whatever you find, so it is therapeutically important. And the analysis are being awaited from the system. You have the proteins which are being affected in the DNA to make an illness in an individual. So by giving either of the medicines will go on the, you find this pop-up materials here which goes and repairs the local tissue. By repairing the local tissue, the components will go and patch up the mistakes or the injury whichever is being done to that area. And this method can be cross-investigated or could be identified with the method called as bioinformatics, and this procedure is called as molecular docking. So as for example, you have the components of Hemagarbha Potali as Swarna, Parada, Gandhaka, then you have the potali which is being formed and it is being boiled in a molten sulfur, then later on you remove it. So it is being scraped, and this particular potali is being investigated across to the Department of Bioinformatics in the form of. So by doing this molecular docking, the component, in case if it is active, as example you can see here, this is a brain receptor protein. So in case if you have any such examples like either of the proteins, the drug can go and totally get linked, and that link wherein the ligand can be identified at what frequency it can get linked to that particular protein, and try to analyze whether it needs a higher energy or lower energy or a moderate energy for having its efficacy in the body. In case if it can link at a very lower energy, means it is more effective or quick in response, which can be very much seen with that of the Potolicalpanas possibly, wherein we can see the clinical efficacy. It's so quick in an individual. So this is about the supportive molecular docking, and especially with the drugs like that of Hemagarbopotali, which is very, very beneficial and used in a wide spectrum of clinical protocols in many disorders. Where any of the disorder clinically it's troubling you can give them Hemagarba. It acts in some way or the other for sure in the patient. So all this identification is called as the docking, and in case if it's of Hemagarba, then it is called the docking of Hemagarbopotali, wherein the molecules, the DNA, the proteins, the linkage, the ligands, everything related to it is being identified, so that you can clinically judge the efficacy of a drug, how it can act at various levels, especially at various disorders. This is called as a docking of Potali. The next one is the combination of the Potali of more than one combination, the concept of Yugma-Potali. This is a coined term, especially because I use it in my practice, so I have coined it in the name of Yugma-Potali. It's not there from the textbook, because based on my clinical experiences, I have tried to go with the Yugma-Potali concept. Abragarbopotali with Hemagarbopotali is Athirasayana, especially in the patients with malignancy, HIV, tuberculosis, etc. I am using this. So what I do is I take the ingredients of Abragarbopotali, I take the ingredients of Hemagarba, and they are being mixed together, and the potali is, I have named it as Yugma-Potali, the concept of Yugma-Potali. The combination of the Tambragarbopotali with that of the Vishagarbopotali is good as anti-malignant and arrest the metastasis as well. So in such conditions, I try to go with the components of Tamragarba and the components of Vishagarba, mix them together, formulate a panna, and it is being clinically administered to the patients suffering from. So this concept is called as the Yugma-Potali concept, wherein two different potalis are being mixed up, and it is being taken as one single entity or one single component, which is very, very effective. So we can have this is Abragarba Potali and Hemagarba, which can be mixed together. And also the route of drug administration is also quite important. The oral administration, posology as per the clinical conditions. As Kavala, I'm giving it in the potalis or being scraped in the Anupanam, especially in the oral malignancies, like you have the squamous cell carcinoma, adenocarcinoma of the oral cavity. I'm giving the Tamragarba and other potalis in the form of Kavala or Gandusha. As Nasya Kalpana, like Shwasakutharas as per Paishacha Ratnavali is given as Nasya, very small concentrations are being mixed with other components and it is being given in the form of Nasya Kalpana. As a Lepana, over the malignant ulcers, wounds, extensively I use a Lepa Kalpana. The practical personality, Acharya Sushruta, has explained about the Shashtipakarmas, the 60 ways or how you can treat an ulcer. So the Vrana Chikitsa, how it is being maintained, the Lepa Kalpana is one more component which is present in that. So what I do, I take this Potali Kalpanas and they are being scraped with the suitable Anupanam, and it is given in the form of a Lepa Kalpana over the malignant ulcers and also on the Dushta Vrana like wound managements. It is extensively useful to heal up the tissues. Along with my respected teacher, Dr. Raghavendra Acharya sir from SDM Udupi, I used to go with the application of this Potali Kalpanas through the endoscope on the affected areas with the malignancies of the GAT, especially in the esophagus, stomach and elsewhere. Even through the colonoscope, it can be applied. The medicines can be taken and it is being sprayed over the local affected areas of the malignant lesions. The same oral dosage is being utilized for the applications or spraying of these medicines locally, even though it is being, in case if it is reachable through an endoscope or a colonoscope. Of course, through the form of enemas, especially in case if it is through the descending colon of the large intestine or the sigmoid colon specifically, or in the rectal area, where the enema drug can reach very safely, very conveniently, especially like the conditions like the malignancies of the lower GIT or the conditions like the ulcerative colitis. I am giving Pichabasti with that of Pravalagarbha Potali in my patients. I do give small concentrations of Tamragarbha Potali in my patients. I do give some patients with that of Trilocichintamani Rasa in the form of Potali, scrape it and add it up into the Dashamula Nirohabasti and give it to the patient who is critically ill. In many clinical conditions, I am using either of these Potali Kalpanas routine practice. As Kavalan Gandosha, definitely as I told you specifically, I try to go with that of the Tamragarbha, which acts very quickly in that particular conditions like that of the adenocarcinoma of the tongue or the oral cavity, or the squamous cell carcinoma of the oral cavity. I found an extensive response. Here you can see with the wherein you have the pyriform fossa, the tumor was being formed and the medicine is being applied, wherein the tumor literally sloughed off from that particular area. So you have many such innovative techniques based on clinical perception, wherein you can go the medicines. So this was a case of the CA of the right breast, and also you can see the metabolically active sites elsewhere in the body in the form of a metastasis. Of course, the patient was into the treatment with other systems. That for this particular patient to be a confirmed case of ductal cell carcinoma, recurrent case where it's been applied with that as a lepakalpana, as a supportive management for the wound, because many times in such patients the wound management is a real challenge. It usually doesn't respond that quickly. So on that grounds we have tried as a supportive medicine was being applied, and easily the lesion gets dried up. It turns out to be very much convenient. It gets healed up very quickly. Similarly, in case of ulcerative colitis in the form of a ulcerative proctitis, the Basti Dravya, the Pravalagarbha Potali, and it is being used in the form of a Thailabasti, in the form of Matravasti, and also in the form of Pichabasti, depending on the age of the patient. So here you can see the ulcerative proctitis before and after treatment, possibly within 2 or 3 months, the anatomy of the lower GIT is being altered by giving the Pichabasti with that of the Pravalagarbha. And abdominal radiography also said to be normal in the patient. Of course, in the form of Akshara Sutra, which is a pioneer method of managing the conditions like that of fistula or arshas, anorectal disorders in Shalya Sampradaya. So to this Kshara Sutra, I am giving a lap of the Tamragarbha Potali in the last 1 or 2 times, and this is being utilized, wherein you can see the mucopurulent discharge, especially from that of the fistulas, turn out or sloughed off very quickly, and the healing mechanism is very quick enough. Very small concentration of this potali is being applied on the Kshara Sutra, and it is being used for the procedures which is usually followed in the department of anorectal clinic.